spiritual progress cannot be measured by any one yardstick. You cannot say, I have had visions of an inner level of consciousness above the physical, therefore I have made progress. You cannot say, I had a glimpse of the orange sky, therefore I have made progress. Because those glimpses might have been given to you by the Master, and he does give them, as a sampling of what lies ahead, so that your faith is built up, that there is something. There could be other signs. If you have a glimpse of the orange sky, but are as angry and yelling at people as before, there's not much progress just by seeing an orange sky. On the other hand, if you have seen nothing at all, but you find that your temperament has changed, you don't get angry with anybody, you feel like there's love for everybody, you see something common with everybody, you're making progress without seeing any image in sight. So progress on the spiritual path can be measured in many yardsticks, and they are different, and different people have progress in a different way. Some people have a very hard time using imagination. The reason being that several past lives of theirs, they have had a large amount of the earth element in them. When they become human, the earth element is still dominant, although all the 5 elements are there. The earth elements pulls them down, and it is difficult for them to imagine or visualize things. There are others who have had the ether and air elements in several of their past lives, and their imagination is so strong that when they talk about what they are seeing, people think they are hallucinating. So we don't know. There is generally a good balance between the different elements that we have. And these elements that constitute our whole self, these elements create a different kind of progress on the spiritual path for us. Some people say, we have a very hard time doing meditation because our mind runs riot, we see nothing, we can't concentrate our attention. What do we do? The great Master would say, well, your elements are so composed that the best you can do is serve the Master, serve the satsangi, serve people. Service brings the same kind of humility that meditation will eventually bring. Service can open doors inside, give you more glimpses occasionally, and even meditation may do. There's an equivalent alternative method of achieving progress. Because karma that we come with is a very interesting feature. The destiny we are born with, we call it the pralabdha destiny, or what they call predetermined fate. Where we are going to be born, who our parents will be, who we will meet in our life, who we will have relationships with, who we will marry, who our children will be, where we will die, how many sicknesses we will have, how many accidents we will have, how many rewards we will get, what kind of job satisfaction we'll get in our work, how many lotteries we will win, is all predetermined at birth. You come with that package. It's called pralabdha, or destiny, or fate that you're born with. But in between these events, there are some gaps left. During those gaps, you will have an experience called the experience of free will. Should I do this? Should I not do this? That area, the gaps between the pralabdha, is called the area of creating fresh karma. And it's called the Kariman stage. The pralabdha is the destiny we're born with. Kariman is where we create new karma by the so-called experience of free will. Then there's a third group of karma, which is called sinchit, which means reserve. The reserve karma is a total accumulation of all your karma of the past lives, all of them put together. And that is stored up in the Akashic records, in your name. And when you come, that reserve is waiting for you. The sanchit karma or the reserve karma, although it's a reserve and not a part of your destiny here, it plays a very important part in creating the attitude, the approach you will have to all the prarabdha karma. All the attitudes we have. Some people have a very negative attitude, they're always pessimistic. Some people have an optimistic attitude. Some people are always fighting with people, that this is their role in life. Some people are very affectionate and loving without any reason. There is a reason. The reason is the accumulative effect of the sanchit karma, and we call it sanskar. Sanskar, they say these are his sanskars he's born with. So prarabdha is the fate, the events already set for us. Kariman are the new karma we create during our stay here. And sanskars are the attitudes which are a result of the accumulation of all the reserved karma. The kariman we change according to our past experiences, but the sanchit we cannot change. Therefore, you will notice that people cannot change their attitudes in their whole life. The attitude is changed with the biggest difficulty, whereas events can be changed more easily. This is how karma works here. So karma is a very interesting feature where there is no cancellation of one action by another. If you do a good deed, you are rewarded for it. You do something bad, you're punished for it. And one doesn't cancel the other, and you keep on reaping rewards for good actions, paying and getting punished for bad actions, but you stay here forever. There's no going out through the process of atonement or cancelling out karma. Karma cannot be cancelled out. So that is why the karma is the biggest prison house for us, and we are tied up in that. And how we deal with these things as we go along. Supposing you decide not to create any karma, how will you make a choice between two things when you don't know which one it is? Whenever you make a choice, you're creating a new karma. The advantage to a person who has a master in his or her life, a perfect living master particularly, the advantage to that person is he or she can leave the choices to the master. Master, tell me what to do, I'll do that. Who is making the choice? The master. Is there karma? Well, master may be getting, not you. But you can avoid it. The second thing is, go with the flow. There's a very common saying here. I have heard it over and over again in the United States. Go with the flow. But literally it means is that whatever the circumstances around you are beckoning and telling you to do, keep on doing it. Maulana Room was asked this, that how do you go with the flow? He says, go with God's will or the Master's will, not your own will, not an individuated, egoistic will. Use the advantage of a Master's will, of a Guru's will, of a perfect living Master's will or God's will. The same thing. It's not your individual will. If you don't use your individual will, there is no karma created. But a man asked him, how do you know what is God's will? Is it everything God's will? We are born with God's will, we live with God's will. How do you distinguish? Has God made two kinds of wills? That there is a personal, individual, mental will that we do, and he does something else on his own God's will? And Rumi says, yes, it's designed like that. The ego is fed by your own choice making and your own will. It's been separated as a mind's activity from God's will, who says if you want to trust in God and have faith and avoid karma, live in God's will. Then the questioner says, but I don't know how to discover God's will. Then Maulana Room in his famous Masnavi says, if God has given a spade in your hand, he has expressed his will, dig. If he has given a pen in your hand, he has expressed his will, write. If he has put circumstances around you, telling you what to do it. That's not your will, it's God's will. Therefore, watch out for the circumstances and coincidences around you. They're expressing God's will. I used to wonder where these coincidences come from. And I noticed that people who came on the path, spiritual path, especially after they got initiated by a perfect living master, they reported large number of strange coincidences in their life. They say, oh, I turned around and I saw a signboard, I saw on the road, And it gave an answer to my question of the morning. I opened the book randomly, and the very sentence on the top was the answer I was looking for. The chances of these things happening are so rare. But obviously, these coincidences are not accidental. They are coincidental. There's a big difference between accident and coincidence. Coincidence was the voice of God. It was a direction which we could follow, avoid creating karma. We just followed coincidences. We are making no decision, no choices with our mind. We are allowing the circumstances and coincidences to make a choice for us. Then I found, is there any other method in which we don't use our will? And discovered that thinking and deciding is a mental activity. Is there an activity going on which can make us do things without thinking and deciding? And I found we have in consciousness an ability called intuition. The intuitive decision making is not done by thinking and deciding. Intuitively you know that this is to be done. There is no thought involved. You say, this is it. I am going to do it. Why are you doing it? I don't know. It just came to me. My gut feeling. It was my gut feeling I should do it. Where does this gut feeling come from? Where does this intuition come from? It doesn't take long to find out the intuition and gut feeling does not come from the mind. It comes directly from your soul, from the spirit. Therefore, it's also something that does not create karma. I studied further whether there's any relationship between intuition and coincidence. And I was amazed to find, in most cases, when you have an intuitive feeling, this should be done, an external circumstance comes up, an external coincidence takes place supporting the same thing. Which means that it's no different. So Manana Room was right, that there's no problem finding out God's will. He puts a circumstance in your life and just follow it. He gives you intuitive decision. Without thinking, without your choosing, follow it. So those people who live with their intuition and live with the circumstances and coincidences around them create no karma. So what happens to those people? How can they keep on repeating life after lifetime? Because they have accumulated plenty of sinchit karma, plenty of reserve karma from where a new life can be created. But what happens in initiation by a perfect living master? When a perfect living master initiates you, he burns up, destroys the entire sinchit record. Can you imagine the effect of that? There is no way any part of your past sinchit reserve karma can be used to create fate for you. The only elements available to create a new prarabdha are the elements from this life. And nothing can be picked up from the past. The fact that the sinchit reserve karma is totally burnt away at initiation is one of the very significant things that happens. And the impact is immediate. The impact is change of attitude in that person. The impact is deep, and it looks like people say, my life has been transformed. I have changed completely. We hear the stories all the time after a person gets initiated. The very basis which set up the attitude in the first place has been burnt away and finished at the time of initiation. Initiation is not merely an instruction book that you repeat these words, you hear the sound, you do this. That's not initiation. Anybody can say that. Any person can do that kind of thing. He may be guru, may not be guru, may be just a charlatan. Anybody can do that. But the fact that initiation means connecting your inner attention to the radiant form of a master who takes full responsibility, and you are accountable to no one else except the master the rest of your life, and the fact that there is no reserve karma left to create new lives for you, that event is called initiation. And initiation is something that happens internally. Initiation is not something that is merely read from a book and that you can follow instructions and become initiation. The words have no meaning. Great master gave initiation to people in different words. He charged those words with the same power that ordinary Sanskrit words were being used by him for other initiations. Initiation is not in the words.